It's a land grant institution. Oh, look at their Google reviews. Y'all, that should make y'all go there. Look at the Google reviews. University of Tennessee. Hold on, y'all. I got to see who the president. I think they president a millionaire. He used to be a founder of a company. Yeah. So Randy Boyd is the president of the University of Tennessee system and the founder of Radio Systems Corporation in Knoxville. Yep. You see it? Yep. That's your president at University of Tennessee. Why does that matter? I don't know. But what is his net worth? It's Google, but I'm not saying I believe Google, but Google's saying off estimate, hey, your boy Randy is probably a billionaire. Your boy Randy is probably a billionaire. So what that mean? I'm thinking University of Tennessee is running like a business. There you go. The University of Tennessee, Knoxville. I don't know why that took, but it's so many Tennessees. I can see why that took so long. Let's make sure this the right school. Oh, look at that bright orange. The University of Tennessee in Knoxville. No, I'm not gonna lie. I like the colors. Don't too much care for the school. I just like the color. Like, I would rock that color. Yeah. So, remember what we said. So, they are, is it on, I think it's on here. It doesn't say it on here, so I'm gonna go on Google real quick. Remember, the University of Tennessee is a, fun fact, University of Tennessee is a land grant university in Knoxville, Tennessee. They got Scott Kelly, Noble alumni, Dave Ramsey, they got John Coulomb and Bob Corker. And so, and I believe, believe it or not, I believe Dave Ramsey kids went to the University of Tennessee as well. They probably had the legacy admission set up. That's a thing. So remember, if you don't get into a school, it's probably because you wasn't a legacy student too. A lot of states still do legacy admits. Do I think that's fair? Not really, but you know, you got to play the game sometimes, I guess. So hopefully, guys, I can get in the office and stuff and make some changes. But so the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, they are large. They have 30,500 rounded pretty much students at their campus. It's a 4-year, it's public. It's in the city of Knoxville. I've never been to Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't know if it's like affordable living. I know Tennessee is an emerging market, but I don't know if it's affordable to live out there. Don't know if it's crazy expensive or not. But I never hear nobody complaining about it, so it's probably pretty decent. It's a large institute, got a large amount of students. So their graduation rate is 71%. That's over the 59%. The average annual cost to go there is actually below the 4-year midpoint. That is a great sign. Why? Because it's below the 4-year midpoint. It's like discounted essentially, but it's pretty known. I don't want to say prestigious, but it's pretty known. And so as we keep going and we talk about that, so sound like you're gonna be saving your money if you go here. That's what it sounds like compared to other 4 years. We're gonna go to the actual tuition and fees in a minute. And then they're saying that, let's go ahead and verify that actually. So they're saying that, remember, the College Scorecard always knocks down the tuition because they're assuming you're going to get some type of aid, grant, scholarship. So we finna go see the real prices. Let's go. The magnifying glass, very simple. You can type in tuition and fees. That's why I always do. Mine's is showing up where I can just click it. I always type in tuition and fees and search. So I'm looking for their tuition and fees. I'm looking at costs and aid. What was that? Oh, that was they. I was like, what was that? Y'all probably heard that. So cost, tuition, and aid. And so as we look, not Beats getting free advertisement. So as we look, that's probably strategic because normally they be real picky with that. So cost of attendance. So college is an important investment, and we are committed to making sure you get the most out of it. So they're saying that tuition and fees, in-state key costs, your tuition and fees is going to be about 13. I'm gonna just say 14,000. I'm sorry. It's about 14,000 with tuition and fees alone. Remember what I said about, look, this for the year. This is for the year. That's got to be for the year. Yeah. That's for 25, 26 academic year. So they're saying, bro, you're gonna pay $15,000 pretty much for housing and food for 2 semesters, bro. Wait a minute. Hey, what I'm saying is, don't stay on campus at the University of Tennessee. I'm saving you $15,000 a year. A year. Now, $14,000 in tuition and fees. I got my phone in my pocket. Let me see. Because my calculator don't be that fast when I be clicking. Let me see. 14,000. That's 7,000. Just making sure though. Yeah. So that's 7,000. Y'all can see that. That's 7,000. That's 7,000 per semester if you go to the University of Tennessee. Now, some people might say, "Oh, that's good because my Pell." Now, look, your Pell is only max 7,000 ish for the year. It's split in half. That's like 3,500 per semester. So you still need another 3,500 for that semester. Not crazy, but you still need another 3,500 to cover you. So you need to have some scholarships. You need to have some grants. And I don't know what the return on investment is when you go to the University of Tennessee, man. They made that very simple for us. Remember, you go to school out of state, it's going to be a lot more. I don't really pay attention on the total cost because even though 30,000 a year is not crazy, but 30,000 a year for 4 to 5 years, I always assume you'll get out in 4 years. 4 years? You're just gonna say 31,000 times 4. That's like 100. That's 6 figures. You're gonna spend $124,000 on college. That's about what most people get when they go to college and student loan debt. So that shows you that you just don't need to stay on campus because they're tying the housing and food into your tuition, and then that's why you're like paying so much money per semester. I mean, for the year, really. And so really, you just get the tuition and the fees. That's still a lot of money, like $7,000 per semester, but it defeats paying 30 grand a year. 14 is better than 30 grand a year. And then not to include, you can go to a 2-year and then transfer to Tennessee and do 2 years there. But let's keep going though, because we got to look at the return on investment real quick before we keep going. So the return on investment, they're saying like, hey, after being 10 years as a financial aid student, they're saying the median yearly incomes of former students who receive federal aid 4 years after graduating from the college. They changed that. That used to be 10 years being removed from the college. So they say at
median yearly incomes of former students who receive federal aid.
Are they saying after 4 years being removed? Or are they saying
4 years after graduating? Yeah.
They changed it. It used to be 10 years. Huh. Y'all can go check the whole video. It used to be 10. But 4 years after being removed, they're saying you're going to make about $68,000 a year. And that's not bad. It's not terrible. If you go here out the gate and you're paying like, because I was looking at the sticker price. Oh, we didn't compare. So as they said though, here it's about 19 grand a year with the financial aid and everything. You don't include financial aid, it's 30 grand a year if you in state. Remember, I don't want you going to college out of state. I want you to go to school in state. So yeah, that's a bit it's a bit decrease, but imagine what it can be if you don't stay on campus or anything. It's probably gonna be about the same price, because if you still compared to this right here, if you still take off within that 19,000, if you still take out the meal plan and housing for the year, you take that out for the year, you take what, that's $4 grand a semester. They're saying you could be paying like $4 grand for the year, hypothetically, theoretically, because if you take 14 grand, because what people don't know, your your tuition and fees are going to be discounted, or your tuition is going to be discounted, meaning like you're going to get the money, it's going to decrease it, like what you're expecting to pay when you go to the school, like, like what the school is covering you on, like, right? Like that's all going to be like based on your income level. Actually, I can show you. So cost by family income. If your family makes literally 0 to 30,000 or 30 to 48,000, you see like your average annual cost is about 10,000. But where this could be misleading is that you're saying that, but it's like kind of like what I said, they're going to discount it. So let me go back. Remember we said you got 75,000, you got 75,000, you got 7,000, right? That's per semester because we did the 14,000 divided by 2. And that's only, I want to make sure y'all stand with me, because this, we only factoring in tuition and fees. So they're saying, look, if your family on the lowest end, if your family makes 0 to 30,000 a year, that look, you looking to pay about 10,000. Now, I don't know if that's accurate, because let alone your housing and food is already about 15,000 a year. So maybe they're talking about, well, they say cost includes tuition, living costs, books and supplies and fees, minus the average grants and scholarships. So look, that does not include, oh, I'm glad they put that on there. That does not include dorms and meal plans. Because I was about to say, I doubt they discounting you on dorms and meals plans. Tuition and stuff, I get it. But it says living costs. That could count as dorms, but that's, you got to be really specific to say you're going to discount their dorms and meal plans. So I don't think they're talking about that personally. I think they're just talking about tuition and some other things. But I'm gonna be honest with you though. You do get discounted depending on what the school, right here it says, depending on the federal, state, or institutional grant aid available, students in your income bracket may pay more or less than the overall average cost. Remember, may pay more or less. And I don't know if Tennessee, the University of Tennessee, has that much money in the bucket to be discounting you like that. So look, I say this, you need to prepare for the worst and say, look, I'm looking at 7,000 per semester. Hopefully my GPA good. Hopefully they discount me a little bit on my tuition and fees, and I can find me an off-campus housing and off-campus apartment, because then they can put more money toward my tuition and fees, possibly. I believe that's how it will work. You still go get the money regardless if you meet the merit-based scholarship, grants and aids, or you qualify. So that's why I always say stay off campus. Let's keep going. So their graduation and retention rate, 91% of their students stay after leaving. After leaving. 91% of their students stay after their first year. That's really good. That's an A. Graduation rate, like we said, it's a C, not nothing crazy. Financial aid and debt, 30% of their students receive federal loans. That makes sense because the housing and dorms is a lot of money. Not crazy. It's not half of their students, but it's 30%. It's like a little bit over 25% of their students. And so, remember, it's like 6 figures to go to this school for 4 years. Not including if you do a major change, not including if you take a break. Let's keep going. So median earnings, they have it in here. They're comparing like, hey, you're going to make more than a high school graduate. You beating that high school graduate by a lot. And then they say in like Tennessee, in the state of Tennessee, you beating about a lot as well by getting your bachelor's here getting your bachelor's with University of Tennessee. And then campus diversity. Remember, guys, if you want to go to a school, you want to go to a college, do a tour in person. Hopefully you're in state, so you don't have to fly to multiple, fly like to all these different campuses. Hopefully you in state, you could drive to the campus. So you could drive to the campus and see the campus for yourself. Diversity is a big thing. And I said the bad word, diversity. But honestly, campus climate, that's what it's really called in higher education terms, is a big thing in college. You want to go somewhere where you can, meet friends, future friends, and hopefully grow with them and meet college friends. I didn't make that many college friends in college. I made some, but they're like older I didn't make the traditional college friends. I feel like I was just, I don't know, weird. So I didn't make that many college friends in college. But go see for yourself. Don't go off this data talking about the whatever socio-economic diversity 20%. Not saying it's not, it's saying that it's not that. It's funny they got diversity on here, but they always talk about diversity being bad. It's obviously saying like the majority of who goes here. So just go see it for yourself. It's probably accurate, honestly, but go see for yourself. Test scores and acceptance. They have a 42% acceptance rate. That's not high, which is a good thing. I mean, everybody can't just go there. They said that the University of Tennessee, Knoxville has an acceptance rate of 42%. The University of Tennessee requires admission test scores now. So remember, I told y'all they starting to bring back these SATs and ACT scores. So they're saying that they have a requirement for SAT, ACT scores. And here's the SAT, ACT scores down here in the range that you want to get in order to go to their school. And that is pretty much it for the University of Knoxville. I always base it off of my perspective though. If I'm in Tennessee and I started at a community college and I'm going to a university, I'm considering like my top school as I'm getting ready to transfer. My top school is the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. And so they're charging like $7,000 per semester. At the time of this video, they're charging like $7,000 rounded, $7,000 per semester. Depending on how much money I have in the pot, how much merit base, depending if they have a secondary, like in Georgia, they got the Hope Scholarship. Depending on what like other grants, if I'm Pell eligible, like depending on how much all that's discounted to where how much I would have to pay the difference, the school could be really a great, I would say a good return on investment, because they said their students make about what 68,000 a year, 4 years after being removed from the school. So that's pretty good. So I would say that's really good, especially if I started a 2-year bridge to a 4-year and I'm only paying $7,000 a year. I mean, $7,000 per semester, which is $14,000 a year. But remember the other things we just included. I know y'all probably like, bro, say the rating. I'm just really breaking it down. I would rate University of Tennessee I rate them a B. We done. Debt free degree. They say I bring debt, but we ain't.